good morning. It's Mrs. Gale. We're going to work through the concept development of Module 4, Lesson 2 today. So the first thing we need to do, there are a couple things you're going to need before we start. So you want to make sure you have a piece of paper. And also, in your Learn book, I need you to get out and rip out the Lesson 2 template. We're going to need both of that for the lesson today, if you're following along. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make a right angle template. So on a piece of paper, to make a right angle template, we're going to have this piece of paper and we're going to fold it in half like this. Okay? And then we're going to fold it in half again. Okay? So do you notice any angles in here? Remember, an angle is when two rays share the same endpoint. So what we have created here, I'm going to turn my paper, is here would be one ray, and this is the shared endpoint, and this would be the other ray. So this little square right here is what we call an angle, and this is what we call a right angle. So we can use this paper as a reference, and you can look for items around your house and put this right template up to it and see if a corner makes a right angle. And we use the word equal to describe. So I can look here at a book, and we see even at my book here, I have a ray and a ray, and if I line up this template, it equals a right angle. So you can look for items around your house, but we're going to use this as a reference for right angles. Okay? So right now what I want you to do is grab your right angle template. And we're going to look at determining how do we know if something is a right angle. So the sides of the right angle template has to match up with the angle here perfectly to determine if it's a right angle. And we're going to identify right angles with a symbol. We're going to put a square in the corner of the angle. So right here in the corner of the angle, we're going to put a square to show if it's a right angle. Okay? So let's look at angle A. I'm going to take my right angle. Here's the vertex, the corner. This is what makes the right angle. I'm going to line it up. And you see, I can see both of my lines here. So that means this is a right angle. So I'm going to put a square right here to show it's a right angle. Let me show that again. I'm taking my template, the corner that makes the right angle, I'm putting it right in the corner of this angle here. And if I can see both my lines, if they line up perfectly with the outer edges, it creates a right angle. So we say that this is equal to. Okay? So let's look at B. Okay? Let's look at B. If I line up B, I put my corner. I can't see the lines. So some of these are what we call less than right angles. So they're almost there, but it's not. And so what we're going to do for B, we put it in the corner. The opening is smaller. You can only see one of the rays. The angle fits. This angle fits inside the right angle. So I see one of the rays, but not the other. I can see it here, but I can't see it there. So this is less than. So we're going to put a L for less than. Okay? So we need to look at the rest of them to see if they're greater than, less than, or maybe some are equal to or right angles. So let's look at C. So the corner of the template, put the corner of the template and one of the side lines up against the corner of the side angle. And what do you notice? So if I put this here and one against the sideline, look at that. It lines up. My angle fits inside. But the other side is outside of the right triangle. It is outside of the right triangle. So we say this is greater than a right angle. And we can put G for that. Okay? So we have identified 3 groups of angles. We have identified right angles, less than right angles, or greater than right angles. So we can continue and see some are going to be right angles, some are going to be less than, and some are going to be greater. Now, if we say they are less than, we call those angles acute. If it's less than a right angle, we say it's acute. And angles here that are greater than a right angle, we call them obtuse. So we have new terminology. We have a right angle. We have less than a right angle, or we call it acute. And we have greater than a right angle, which we call obtuse. Okay, so let's go to D. If I put my right angle here, I can see it, it fits in, but I can't see the other. It's inside. So we're going to say this is an acute angle. It's less than a right angle. Let's look at E. If I put it inside, wow, I can see both the rays. So this is going to be a right angle. F, sometimes you might have to flip your paper around, and that's okay. Okay, so I have it lined up. My corner and my ray is lined up. Ooh, that's kind of tough, but I don't see that line. The second ray is inside, so this is going to be also acute. Let's look at G. Okay, G, I line it up. I can see both of the rays are lining up with my right angle template, so this is a right angle. Okay, let's look at H. Wow, that one's a big angle. So if I am to put my angle template and line it up with one of the rays here, the vertex, they call that a vertex, a corner. I see this second ray is way outside of my right template. So that's going to be a greater than, and we call that obtuse. Okay, even if I'm just looking at it, and I look and see, well, that's a right angle, it kind of looks like the letter L. Well, this one, it really is big, so I can kind of guess when I line up one of my corners here. Sorry, I gotta get my corner. Line it up at the vertex, which is the corner. You might hear me say that. Vertex is the corner. Okay. I have it lined up. This is way outside. It would have to be going this way to be a right angle. So we say this angle is obtuse. And lastly, J. If I line up, here we go. Okay, here we go. I lined it up at the vertex, the corner. Oh, okay, again, it's outside, so we say it's greater than or obtuse. So, again, we can use this template, just a plain piece of paper, And this vertex here, this corner, if you line it up in your angle and line it up directly with one of the rays, if both of the lines show up like here, I'll just go back to G. If both of the lines, you can see both rays, I shouldn't call them lines. Well, they are lines because they are going in different directions. But remember, we have a endpoint here. So it's a ray. Both rays line up and you can see them both. That's a right angle. But if we line it up at the vertex and one side, if that second side is outside the box, that means it's obtuse. It's greater than a right angle. And if it's less than, I lined it up. And you have your one side, but you cannot see it. I can see this one ray, but the second ray is inside the box. It's under the paper. We say that's acute.